still doing the speaking today?
Yeah, Rebbe is speaking. Yeah.
No, the Rav is not. He's doing a Zoom.
He's stuck in the Zoom.
Yeah, he's doing a Zoom.
So,
I want to say
so
stuck. He's
so he's
blessed to be.
He's what?
You're saying he's stuck. It's
Well, temporarily.
he's happy to be there.
Tehran's going to look like Gaza City soon.
I mean,
Could we get some real estate over there?
I'm not interested.
If they get rid of the Ayatollah, the real estate is going to explode.
It's coming. It's already been decreed. We're just waiting for the actual event to happen. It's it's decreed.
The people are waiting for the revolution. I believe the Shaar's son may go back if they depose him because they're going to need an immediate leader. And number three, it was the Persians. When they came here, they did very well, but they were the ones who made the big money with the Shah when he was there. And if it's going to be again.
Want to drink?
I don't know. Maybe not.
It's yes.
No, I don't know. Okay, maybe I should.
Yeah.
It's just really just water. Okay. Oh, let me just write one thing and then we'll start, so I don't forget.
I think we should say before we learn that the souls of those that were good.
Shefu Shlem. Yeah. Yeah.
Innocent people, but that's what happens.
100%. We'll talk about that.
Everybody in Yerushalayim are in shelters now.
Because they're shooting out. I mean, it's the whole country.
Yeah, I'm talking to my daughter. I was hoping her husband got to go to yeshiva today. Not happening.
We're on page 2-1.
We're going to do a special share today.
Okay.
In light of the events. In light of the events. It's an opportunity.
He was going for second Seder, but the sirens just went off.
Today, what we say is the 19th of Sivan. Correct?
I don't know.
19th, what we say,
I don't know
right?
any dates ever.
Yeah, 19th. Ever.
I know Sunday. I know the day of the
Father's
week.
Day.
Father's Day. That event.
It is the 19th of Sivan.
19th of Sivan. Yeah, that's
Today,
it. Okay.
15th of...
19th of Sivan, 15th of June.
Yes, 19th of Sivan.
Okay.
5785.
Okay, so let's start here. In light of the current events, Mr. Hashem, all should go well. We should, Kadosh Baruch should protect everybody who needs protection, heal those who've been hurt, brings comfort to those for the families who have lost, family members right now, yesterday, 2 days ago. And Mr. Hashem, this should be over very, very soon.
Amen.
So I thought it's important that we take this opportunity. We're learning bitachon l'maisa, so we should discuss the sugi bitachon and muna and bitachon. It's gonna be a mixture in light of these current events, and try to get our heads straight, which is the whole tachas of all of Chavos Levavos and all of his gates and all of his sharim. So let's use this thesaurus to try to concretize, to try to make a kinyan nafshi, as I like to say, an inner kinyan, an inner acquisition of our Muna B'Tachon, so we can move on with it. And it's not just an inspiration that comes and goes. So, verse will say, Baruch atah Adonai, Melech haOlam kol niyeh b'dvaro.
Amen.
Shkoyach.
Too sweet.
No, it's perfect. So if you remember, if you want to go back a little bit of time, it's still in our minds and our hearts that infamous day of October 7th, which will forever be, that day will forever be etched in our head. I feel bad for those who have birthdays. I do know a person or two who has a birthday on that day.
But you have to know, that's Hashem. I just want to answer because it came up yesterday. It has to be Hashem's will. When you see the genius of how they strike Tehran.
That's what we're talking about today.
And this happened that they couldn't. If you would look at this like we are, even as a guy, the two don't make sense. Look how they strategically take out things in Tehran?
So that's only if you look at the bigger picture. And we're going to look at the bigger picture. That's what we're going to do right now. That's exactly what we're going to do right now. Just because we all know it, there's no chidushim, but we have to say it out and expand it and allow ourselves to think into this situation. So if you remember back, it was probably a week or two after October 7th, we gave a bitachon shir about the news and the bad idea that it is, the horrible idea to pay attention to the news, especially at that time, even if the news was real, which wasn't clear what was true, what was not true. It wasn't clear. Still till today, it's not clear. We don't know. But even if it would be true, the purpose of the news and the purpose of what Hamas and the other, and of course Iran, what they're trying to do is to bring fear to the world, to bring anxiety to it. That's what they wanted, to bring stress. That's what they wanted, and what were they using? The news. So when we would pay attention to the news and we would be frightened and scared and nervous and anxious and not knowing whether it's people in Eretz Yisrael, whether it's our financial stuff that's going on here, whatever it would be, the whole world is unstable. That was exactly what they wanted. And when we paid attention, we were buying into their propaganda, and it was working very, very well. We couldn't think straight. People were very nervous, scared. So we discussed how it's totally, totally against the world of bitachon to even pay attention. You have to be a very, very powerful person in bitachon to be able to pay attention to such news and not allow it to affect you.
We're incredibly desensitized.
Well, some people are also incredibly desensitized, and it didn't affect them, which is also a problem on the other hand. So we discussed it at length. I remember, and it came out, I'm pretty sure it came out that there was not even one. I don't think anybody, I challenged everybody, I don't think there was one good, solid reason why a person should pay attention to the news. Overall, there was no one solid reason. Because once you enter into one news feed, then you're subject to everything. So you can't even have you have no bechira to choose one certain thing that would maybe be something that could be litoelis, maybe. It's not possible. And therefore, it doesn't mean everybody changed their lives, but everybody at least agreed. It's important to at least be modal emes, that paying attention to the news at that time, and in general, whenever it's bad, and speaking about the tragedies and atrocities, whether it's Eretz Yisrael or any country really, it's just a bad idea. You're entering into the world of Sitra Achra, into Choshech, into darkness, into Kfira, into anxiety, into worry. 99.8% is all going to be bad. Maybe once in a while there's something good to feel good about, but it's not worth it. It's a really bad investment. Really, really bad investment to pay attention to the news at that time. The question is, what about now? What about right now, where, let's say, currently right now, there is some bad stuff going on. Not bad, quote unquote bad stuff. There's difficulties, there are tragedies, people begin passing away, there's a lot of fear. But for let's say, for us in America, who are not directly, in the line of fire, and therefore we're outside of it. So we don't have that daily fear, the sirens, we don't have that. And we're looking at this with pride. Like we're finally on the attack. We're not waiting anymore. Jewish pride, Eretz Yisrael pride. We're feeling strong. The lions of Judah have come out. And to some degree, okay, yes, there are tragedies, and we can't forget about that, and we have to feel the pain of those who are in pain. But this is like, in a certain way, it's like positive news. We're for those who are paying attention, I'm definitely, it's even getting me, like it's piquing my interest. Like, oh, this is good. We're attacking. It's a good feeling. Is it a good thing to listen to the news at this point? That's the question that we're going to discuss right now. Right?
I think it's important. I think it's important to get information. For instance, like I texted my family this morning just to see how they're doing. They're all in shelters. I mean, I think
that's not news. That's speaking to your relatives.
But I think it's important.
How it's going.
It's important to be informed. So
we discussed this. You mentioned this last time by October 7th, and we came out at the end of the day to know that. Okay,
you can't obsess about it, and you can't have anxiety over it.
But the problem is when you enter into that place, you have no choice anymore.
You know what's going on in the world at all.
First of all, we discussed if you were on last week, if you were on an island. Did you hear last week's?
Yeah.
All right.
I was on an island.
You're on an island, and you were happy. You didn't know anything, right? So, you had your phone.
Yeah.
But let's yeah.
So
I
what
have a
about,
point to this all, obviously.
yeah, what about a practical question? Um, I have I have a chef there. I have my heads of staff. I have to figure out alternative plans. I have to.
So you want to listen to the
No,
Jerusalem Post, or you want to talk to them?
No, I don't talk to them. No. You need data. I need flights, airspace. I need.
That's practical. It's not news. That's just practical. It's a shtadlis.
Right, and my
difference between that and refreshing your yeshiva world?
Yeah, I'm saying if you're watching what's going on, that's not.
No, I figured out.
You just need El Al to tell you are they flying or they're not flying.
No, I figured out a way to do it. Dan Skills gives you enough data on flights. So
but the question is, what about the positivity? What about the positivity? You know, all these things that are coming out. What happens? What about listening to? I'll make up some headlines for you. Trump declares Israel is the only true democratic country in the Middle East. Israel will quintuple in size in the next few years. 10 new Trump resorts will be spread out. Tehran, Israel, what?
Gaza.
Damascus, Israel, Gaza, Israel, and there'll be new Trump resorts. Like, is this okay to listen to?
Absolutely.
Let's wait. What
That's
about when you hear the news? Mr. Parker was saying, Israel's been planning attack for 10 years, 15 years, whatever they were doing.
years.
20 years. Israel's planning attack for 20 years. Genius of the Mossad, the Shin Bet, or whatever other organizations they probably have that we don't even know about. Seems like not a problem to listen to. It's
The genius is over different governments that the same people were able to go along under.
Right, to keep a secret. That's the big chiddush of all. That's what Rebbe, I'm sure he's going to say it at some point. Mark me down. At some point, Rebbe's going to say, the fact that a Jew could keep a secret for so long, that's the biggest miracle. He said things like this before.
And they had somebody in the Iranian government on their payroll.
Whatever it is.
They had to run out of Tehran a few hours before they struck.
So all this stuff that's going on, and will continue to go on, it should be over soon, but all these types of things. So it's positive. It's not bringing me stress and anxiety. So l'chayr, it should be okay. Pasuk says, I said this yesterday to some chaver. I don't know who heard. I'm not sure, but it was a joke, but it's real. Pasuk says, and this pasuk was going around on Thursday night. Someone showed it to me that it was going around on the WhatsApp groups. Someone saw this pasuk in the parsha. Baloscha, we just read. When war is going to come to your land. This week's parsha, right? When war comes to your land, al hatzar hatzori eschem, on the enemies that attack you, that antagonize you. V'harayosim b'chatzotzros. So we're talking about there the chatzotzros, right? Different times we use the trumpets to gather people by the Moadim when there's milchama. So you blow the chatzotzros. You'll be remembered before Kadosh Baruch Hu, and you'll be saved from your enemies. So this pasuk was going around because we were mamish in the fight. Parsh Baloscha. Amazing thing to see, right? People take a little bit of amuna in that. Hashgacha pratis at this week's parsha. So I made a little bit of a joke, but it's real. But it's a little bit we're being loose in the usage of the pasuk.
Do you have the chapter and verse in the...
I don't have it right now. I'll show it to you afterwards. Remind me. When Iran is attacking and sending missiles and bombs and antagonizing Klal Yisrael, and the trumpets are blaring, and Donald Trump, right? Trumpets. The Trump he's yelling out. He's in the news. Nothing wrong with him. He can do whatever he wants. But, he's telling people, I've been planning this for 20 years. It's the might of the USA because we're giving them, obviously, he's going to take credit at some point for the stockpile and the weapons, which they probably did give all the weapons that Israel's using right now. So you have this guy Trump is blaring and saying it's us, it's the might. Trump is the person who, again, I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying what he's saying, and he's a guy. He doesn't have to be holding no bitachon. So what's he saying? It's Israel's might, USA's might. the genius, the intellect of Kol Chivotzim Yadi. That's what he stands for. And he's allowed to. He's a good. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying anything bad. But as a Yid, that's not how we can't get caught in that. You can't get caught in that way of thinking. So the end of the pasuk says, you know what's going to really save you from your enemies? When you mention a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Eile v'rechev ve'eile b'susim. What is every single day we say? Eile v'rechev ve'eile b'susim. Some with chariots, some with susim. V'nachnu b'shem Hashem Elokeinu nazkir. But we mention a Kadosh Baruch Hu's name. Are there chariots? Of course there's chariots. They're fighting. Are there susim? Are there horses? Of course there are. Are there fighter pilots? Of course there are. Are they being Moshe Nefesh? 100%. But Hashem Elokeinu nazkir. V'niskartem f'nei Hashem. We have to remember what's really going on. We have an opportunity for Amunah and Bitachon. Kadosh Baruch Hu is the one. And then it says, V'noshatem eveichem. Then you'll be saved from your enemies. Right? It's not the chatzotzros that are blasting. We have to make sure that we understand how to see everything in life. So let's go down. Let's break it down a little bit. Again, no chidushim necessarily, because we have discussed this, but it's an opportunity for chazara, and maybe something new will come into your system. So part of the jokes, but that are true, or we'll call them Purim Torah. A few years ago, this hit me. I don't know when it was around. Maybe it was COVID time. Maybe it was COVID time. So since we're mentioning, Iran, Persia, right? So if you want to go a little bit deeper, we have to go to Mordechai, Esther, Achashverosh, Haman. That's where it happened. Even Rami mentioned that he alluded to it yesterday. Yeah. So we have to mention the Purim Torah. And I said this yesterday also. But it hit me a few years ago. There's four exiles, right? Mitzrayim was the head honcho. It's not one of the four. There's Bavel, Paras Umadai, Edom, and which one? Yavin, thank you. That was Yavin, right? Four exiles. We've been exiled from our country. We've been in different countries. What does it mean, Gullus? We're not getting into the whole sugya now. You could listen to Rav Sasson. He explains very well. But Gullus is when a person is exiled from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, when he's not connected. It could be that you're kicked out of your land. It could be something else is triggering it. But when a person feels disconnected, he's in Gullus. And every Gullus has its inyan. Yavan had Choshech and to fight against Torah. And each one, Bavel, the Bilbul. What about the Gullus of Paras Umadai? Right? Achashverosh and Haman. What exactly was that? So, B'derech tzchos, B'derech tzachuk, in a joking way, but it's real. The Gullus of Paras Umadai is the Gullus of press and media. Paras Umadai, imagine? Press and media. What's the Gullus of press and media? What's the Gullus? Is that there's so much information floating around in the news. All types of news. Again, whether it's social media news. Who mentions the Kadosh Baruch Hu? That's the Gullus. Are there stories that are true? 100%. But they're not really, really true unless you bring in the beginning. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides that Eretz Yisrael should attack Iran, so he whispers in Netanyahu's ear, hey, now's the time. HaKadosh Baruch Hu whispers in the Shin Bet of the Mossad from 20 years ago, maybe we should start planting, some spies over there. Maybe one day you'll need them. It could be the people who planted those spies there 20 years ago, or the spies that were there 20 years ago. I don't know. I'm not reading the news so much, but they're not there probably anymore. But that started the program, and we didn't know when that was going to be needed. Kadosh Baruch Hu decided. He planted it into our heads a long time ago. See, you have 3 levels. I always like to break it down to levels. We'll call it 3 levels of news. Okay? First level of news, we'll call it the fake news. The Hamas news, which is total fabrication, sheker, lies, made up, just total lies, which is happening, unfortunately, all the time. Fact-checking is not so popular. Why should we fact-check? We'll just believe it because I like the way it sounds, and I agree to that. So who cares if it's true or not? Pashut lies, fabrications, that's the first level, that's the lowest level. That's obviously very bad. Fake news, Hamas news. Again, you understand, same thing. And that's floating around could be floating around every single newscast or whatever. Even the Jewish ones, maybe, they don't mean to, But it could be they're just copying from somebody. Again, they don't mean it maliciously. I guess that's not the same level, because there's maliciously trying to fabricate news, and then there's the ones who are just, they don't mean to, they're just copying the fake news. So I guess it's the really, really bad level, and then I don't want to take any hits on the Jewish news. They try to mean well, but it could be that they're copying from somewhere. I don't know. I don't even want to say about them because I don't want to get anybody yell at me. Let's just say that they're good. I don't know. Second level. At the end of the day, I said they're good. Okay? Let's remember that. I went back on my original.
We don't necessarily agree, but that's.
Yeah. The middle level, we're going to call it the Trump news. Call it the Trump news. Trump news is what? At least from what he says, you never know. It's emes. It's emes. It's actually what's happened. Let's say what's actually going on. Right? Partisan Madai news. It doesn't mean it's lies. I mean, it could be it's true, but it's not the full truth. Because the full truth is the third level of news, which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu's news. Which is HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decided the weather. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides when the tide is every single day. HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides which sports team is going to win. Yes? The entire newspaper from front to back. Eretz Yisrael news, world news, money news, psychology, entertainment news. Even that, well, you know. Technology, if I said that, I don't know, science, all that stuff. It's all from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the real news. No one's putting that out, really. It's rare. Even the good news is saying the emes, but the emes on the ground. They're not bringing Shemayim into the news. Because that would just be weird. Who speaks like that? Right? That's great.
Jewish publications, like the Jewish magazines.
Do they bring it in?
I don't know. I don't really read it.
I'm not saying anything bad about them, but I don't usually see such lashonas. That's not the language of the, unfortunately, yet. The language of Emunah B'tachon, like we have discussed here a long time ago, that has yet to become the language of the Jewish people. I'm hoping for those people, and I...
What is amazing is secular newscasters in the middle of giving a news report, putting on a yarmulke and saying Tehillim. That's the most...
we're getting closer. We're getting closer.
I could show you.
We're getting closer. But we want to be people who are living that way. So we're talking about the news here, and even the positive news, even the Trump news, again, that's how we're calling it, which is positive. It's real. It's Israel pride. It's America pride. We feel good. So should we listen to it or not?
Well, even that, we just saw a situation. They said something that just happened between him and Netanyahu was fake. So they're even showing that even news that you're being reported.
And we don't even know if that story is really fake. Maybe they did get into a fight. We don't know.
That's so awesome.
So it could be lies, fake. The point is, even the positive stuff is dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because it challenges your bitachon, your emunah bitachon. Because when you're reading things all the time and it's positive, Kadosh Baruch is not in there usually. So with all the positivity, which some of it might even be lies, or whatever it is that how a mammon, is that how Baal Bitachon lives in life? That means so what? So the Baal Bitachon, when he's in shul, when he's at work in his finances, so he's trying to work in Bitachon. But all the news feeds, this large swath of his life where he's listening to all the news, Kadosh Baruch is not there. That's like a dissonance. That's like a cognitive dissonance. That's like going to be a disruption in Emunah Bitachon. You can't have half a Kadosh Baruch. It can't be. So what's the point here? And we're going to continue. But if you're going to listen, that's up to you. And when you listen to even positive, you end up listening to negative also. And then you fall into that rabbit hole. You don't usually have a choice. Don't think you do. You don't. Once you're in it for everything. And it could be detrimental. It probably will be detrimental. But if you're still going to listen anyway, at least try to bring a Kadosh Baruch Hu into it. Because it's the truth. It's the real truth. So if you're trying to already listen to true news, you have found the station that says only emes. Okay, good. But remember, it's not the full emes. And then you have to bring it in. Before you look at anything, right? So whatever I'm about to read right now, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm telling you right now, it's you. It's you. Then go look. Nope. Gewaldig. Mitzvah. Do it every single time, though. Right? Do it every single time. It's like tefillah. Before you go to work every day, before you go, you gotta say a tefillah. There should be a tefillah for news. We should make a hiratzim. Hiratzim of anachat should be in front of your will, Kadosh Baruch Hu. That whatever I'm about to read is, I know it's from you. Whether it's good or it's bad, it's all from you. It's the best. You're the strongest. You decided to do this because it's and for our best, even if I don't understand it. Because you've known us since we're little babies. You've created the world. Right? A beautiful tefillah, very simple tefillah. You can do it yourself. Then look at it, no problem. Wouldn't that be amazing? Is now how Evich at Hashem, who tries to serve a Kodesh Baruch in all areas, who's a mammon, who's a habitachon, would look at the news? I think so. And there's nothing wrong. So go look at it, go right ahead. But do it right. Top down. It'll make, first of all, it'll make the good that you read, it'll build your emunah bitachon. It won't just be stam Jewish pride, good. Kill Tehran, kill the Khomeini, whatever his name is. Gavaldik, amazing, we feel good. That's not necessarily a mitzvah. It's good. Jewish pride is very, very good. We need that. We need to be mechazik ourselves. But don't trick yourself and think that's helping your emunah bitachon. It's very subtle. It's lav dafka. A little bit maybe. But you have an opportunity. Before you're about to go look at the positive stuff, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you're the one who's doing it. So now when you feel good, hakar satov to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Hodu Hashem ki tov kilan chasna, in a little bit of a more real way. Over time it builds. And the scary stuff, if you are looking, I'm not telling anybody to look, but if you are looking and there is scary stuff, if you've already set in place emunah and bitachon, now at least you have a little bit of strength to see the scary stuff and say, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. We have gone through things before. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has taken care of us. He's going to take care of us again. Because even with all this news, where people are scared, I mean, you're sending hundreds of missiles and rockets. Just one could take out hundreds and hundreds of people. And let alone the hundreds. It's a pachad. It's mamash pachad. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't have our emunah bitachon in place. Don't be desensitized. Be sensitized to emunah bitachon. Right? Be sensitized to emunah bitachon. Every single day, we say. You think it's some people might be saying, everybody believes me. I think everybody believes that you have to read the news of the emunah bitachon. That I think if we're honest and we're logical and we've learned bitachon, yes, it is true. I agree. This is the better way. But I'll tell you even more than that, because every single day you're davening. Maybe not Shabbos. Every single day you are declaring that a Kadosh Baruch Hu actually runs the news. And he's the one behind all the bombs. He said every single day. But this is like a side point. When we daven, it's important to pay attention to what we're davening to, because that all of davening is emunah bitachon, and if you pay attention to what you're davening, it's going to build you up. Where do we say this every single day? Every single day. We say every single day. Lakel Baruch Nimos Yitenu. To the blessed God of Chesed, Ni'imos Yitenu, should give Ni'imus, compliments, recognition, Lamelech Kel Chai V'Kayim, to the King, who's a Baal Chesed, who's living Chai V'Kayim. Right now, he's controlling the world. Zmiros Yomeru, V'Sishbachos Yashmiu. He's talking about the Malachim, but it's talking about us also. They sing to him, they praise him. Why are they praising him? Ki hu levado morim v'kadosh. Because he himself, a Kadosh, the only one, he himself, levado, is morim, is very high, v'kadosh, and he's holy. Poel gevuros, all gevura in the world is him. Any time a bomb hits anywhere in the world, any shot fired, any gevura that Klal Yisrael has, and we're Baruch Hashem experiencing it right now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Poel gevuros. Does that mean that there's not an IDF officer on the ground shooting? Of course there is. And we thank him for that. But get your head straight where it's coming from. Kadosh Baruch Hu Poel gevuros. Oseh chadashos. What does chadashos mean? That's the news. That's what chadashos is, the news. He makes the news. Every newspaper is him, but we don't see that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine writing a whole book and the publisher forgot to put your name in it? You spent thousands, years of your life, dissertation, everything, and now nobody believes because they printed the book anonymously. No one believes that it's you now. Can you imagine the pain? You spent your whole life working on this, and nobody gives you credit for it.
Unless you wanted it that way.
Unless you wanted it that way, or you're Baal Bitachon and you realize that's for the best. But for the normal person, it will be very painful. No one believes you. Like, no, I wrote that. Like, yeah, that can't be. It's too good. Probably ChatGPT or something. No, I really did it. Nah, it's probably not. The pain. So Kadosh Baruch Hu is doing all the Gevura, all the Chadashos, and we're not even recognizing it. Next line, Baal Mechamas. So what does that mean? Baal Mechamas was only, I'll tell you what that pasuk means. In Mitzrayim, in the Midbar, maybe when Klasa was settling the land. But once Nach was over, that's not a Kaddish Baruch. The Baal Mechamas ends, when Nach ends. Obviously not. Baal Mechamas is right now. 67, now, everything. It's not him, but it's him. We have to get our head straight. Chavos levavos. I'm going to be talking. Where's it coming from? Zorei tzedakah, matzmiach yeshuos. He's already preparing he's planting the seeds of tzedakah, of tzidkus, of righteousness. Matzmiach yeshuos. He's allowing the yeshuos to grow. It takes a long time for Yeshua to grow. It could be 20 years. It could be 50 years. It could be 100 years. They're saying 20 years they've been planning this. Kaddish has been planning this for 5,785 years. Yes? So all the news is true, but not full truth. You've been planning this for 20 years? Kavald, Mossad, amazing, mind-blowing. But don't forget, Kaddish Baruch has been planning even the steps to get there. How is there an Israeli country? How do we get back there? How is there a world to have 5,785 years? Kaddish Baruch has been planning on this day. And yesterday and tomorrow and in my life, in the world's, right? We can't forget that. You forget that, you're forgetting the emes. And if you only see a partial emes, we've discussed this, if you're only seeing partial emes, it's actually sheker. What is true in a larger system, but if you say the system is only this, now you've turned an emes into a sheker. The number 2 is true. Number 2 is number 2. But if you say that number 2 is the beginning of the count, number 2 is number 2, and then there's 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Emes or not emes? It's emes. But if you say that 2 starts and there's really no number 1, sheker mamish, but you might not see that. Because it's true. 2 is true. 3, 4, 5. Once you get to 20, 30, 40, you won't even remember that number 2 said he's number 1. You forget about that already. You're so far in, and everything looks okay, so you forgot the number 1. You forgot Kaddish Baruch. That's not what we want. That can create a lot of mistakes, because what happens when you get to 35 and then the guy says, no, but it's 34, or there's 33 after that, and there's bombs going, and then it looks like there's rot, and it looks like there's bad stuff. Oh, I don't know what to do. Number 2, what should we do? I don't know. Number 2 says, when I said I was number 1, everything was going well. Now, I don't know what to do, because you forgot about number 1. You understand? Yes? Clear, Marshall? What's going on? So, Kaddish Baruch Hu is the Paul Gevuros, the Oseh Chadosh, the Baal Mechamas. Say it with Kavana. Zorei Tzedakos, Matzmiach Yeshuos, Boy Refuos, Noras Lehilos, Adonai the Flows, HaMechadesh Betuvo. HaMechadesh, he's Mechadesh, news. Everything is new every day. Betuvo, it's good. Bechol Yom Tomid, every single day. You want to refresh constantly? Even the best news, you can't refresh constantly. Eventually they need a break. But Kaddish Baruch Hu's news is every single second. Tomid. When is it not? Refresh. Kaddish Baruch, thank you. Kaddish Baruch, oh, Gaval. Kaddish Baruch, this is you. Every single second. It's kedai to do that. As much as you refresh your news feed on your phone, you should be refreshing your moon on the Kaddish Baruch Hu. Because every single time you want to see that Inyan on the news, remember, let's feel it before. Kaddish Baruch L'Shem Yichud Kudshu B'Richud Shchintei. Could you imagine trying to say L'Shem Yichud 1,000 times a day, as many times as the news feed's refreshing? You get sick of it. Emes? Let's do it right. You'll live a happier life. You can look at the news and have your cake and eat it too. Right? I was like, one mushka babble of the time, but you get the line. HaMechadish b'tu b'chol yom tomid ma'aseh bereishis. Every single second he's going back to bereishis and now. Back to bereishis and now. Back to bereishis and now. So anybody who says, I did this because I worked on this thing, that's partially true. You are part of the program. You did hishtadlus, but the emunah b'tochen, it's not you. How did you even get the stuff to do the thing? Where'd the stuff come from? Oh, well, it came because, that scientist or that person or that he gave it to. Where did he get it from? Where did he get it? Bring it back. Make Kaddish Baruch Hu great again, yeah? Make the news great again.
You need a hat for that.
What? Make hats. Maybe to help people. I don't know. So it's an opportunity. The bad news, it's really usr. It's actually usr because it brings you datzes. The good news, eitzadas tovra, I wouldn't suggest it. But if you do it right, you have a better chance. You could turn night into day. Because even the Trump news, even the positive news, first of all, it's unfiltered. It could also lead you into the bad stuff. But it's not the full truth. It's not mamish yom. It's still laila from a Kadosh Baruch Hu's perspective. Because if you're looking at it from a Kadosh Baruch Hu's perspective, I wrote this news. Why aren't you seeing who wrote it? I'm the author. It's a chutzpah, really, to Kadosh Baruch Hu to look at the news and not recognize it's from him. So it's really bad in a certain way, yes? If you're going to do even the Trump news world and not say Kadosh Baruch Hu, it could, on a bitachon perspective, and those who are we're working hard, this chabura, I'm not talking to everybody about this, because they wouldn't even appreciate it necessarily, but this chabura should appreciate that it's actually bad news. But you can make Laila Kiyom. Remember the Gematria? Laila Kiyom Yar, Laila's Gematria Bitachon. Kiyom is also Gematria Bitachon. You turn night into day with Bitachon, with Amunah and Bitachon. See it the right way. Before you go into any of the news now, Hashem is the Almighty. Look at the power of Klal Yisrael right now. Look at the power of the fighter jets, but that's coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu's Gvura. Don't forget that. Kadosh Baruch Hu is attentive. These are the facets of our Bitachon. Kadosh Baruch Hu is Hinei Lo Yonam V'Lo Yishan, Shema Yisrael. Look, we're experiencing it right now. Don't forget. The problem is like this. October 7th, some people forgot. Oh, where's the Kadosh Baruch Hu then? Some people could ask such a question. Where was he then? And because they got caught in that, now, even when we're doing well, they forget about him also. Because he wasn't there then, so he's not there now. It was humans then, it was humans now. That's a big pagam in your emunah. It's a big pagam in your emunah. Let's read. You know what? Turn to page 65. Let's read. We have some time. Let's read a little bit. 65. We're going back to the Chazara because you have an opportunity every single moment to work on our bitachon, especially in light of these events. And again, news is a very big part of the world. Press and media, it's a very big part of the world, and the very few who can cut themselves away, which overall is the best. But there's very few people who could really do that. And I advise if you can, I suggest if you can, do it, even for a short period of time, it's kedai. But if you can't, let's do it the right way. Page 65. Let's just read the English. This is a long time ago. The seventh quality, yeah? The seventh. No, we're going to the seventh. We're going to the bottom. The seventh quality of a Kadosh Baruch Hu. You need all these seven to then even to be able to live a true life of bitachon. What we're going to read is an emunah, that with the seven emunahs in a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? That he runs the world, everything's for the best. He's the Almighty. No, right? All these seven qualities, if you live with them, you can then live every single moment of life calm, tranquil, happy, dahainu with bitachon. So what is the seventh? The seventh quality. It should be clear to the person that all things in existence in this world, all things, if it's a bomb, if it's an ideology, it's a philosophy, all things, both those that are essential, referring to the beings and objects themselves that were brought into creation, and those that are accidental, quote unquote accidental, referring to the events that happen to those objects and beings. They're not accidental, they're just, they happen less often, have a clear and defined limit. Every single thing has a clear and defined limit. And it is impossible to add or subtract from the limit that God, may he be blessed, has decreed. He created all the events. He's the one who decides when it should happen. Nobody else. 20 years? You're gonna say, oh, the Messiah 20 years? Again, Beheshtadlis, it's true. But you have to go back further. 5,875 years ago. He prepared all the times for everything. A person cannot change an object's quantity, quality, time, or place. A person cannot change an object's quantity, quality, time, or place. He cannot increase that which was decreed to be few, nor can he decrease that which was decreed to be many. Kadosh Baruch Hu decides, you can't change that. It looks like you are doing something, but that's the trick. Similarly, a person will not be able to delay something that has been decreed to be early, nor is he able to hasten something that has been decreed to be delayed. You think you decided exactly when it's going to happen. You didn't decide. The hishtadlis you chose with your bechira, but that was already decided from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That which does happen in this manner has been decreed by the Creator from the beginning of creation. So you want to watch the news? Go right ahead. You want to hear about the amazing things that, again, the Mossad, the Shin Bet, Netanyahu, whoever it is, Gewalt. But look at the full truth. That is just a 20-year out of 5,785-year program that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has. He's the first Mossad agent. He's been planting spies for 5,000 years. Yes or no? We have to just get it clear. That's it. Just get it clear. That's what the Chovos HaLevavos wants. Live a better life. Live a happy life, because you get it clear from top down, from HaKadosh Baruch Hu down. Simply all the prior decrees of God that were in the foreknowledge of the Creator. They're all in the foreknowledge of the Creator, were decreed in such a way that they have direct causes for their occurrences, and those have prior causes, right? Everything has cause and effect. He decreed a long time ago how this mission was going to go. And for those who, we could just look a little bit, for us, we could zoom out a little bit. This is happening right now, and all the destruction of Syria and Lebanon, and Mitzvah, the rest of them all, and the Houthis and all that chevra, is why? How did it all start? From October 7th. Okay, let's zoom out a little bit. The only reason why we are now able to do what we're doing in the Gashmias sense, the only reason is because the atrocities, and we're not in Lo Aleinu, and it's still sad, and we still have to mourn. But because the atrocities were so bad on October 7th, that gave Beshtadlis the green light to do what we're doing. And we can't go into this place, and we're not going to go into this place, but if it was a big attack and only, Chas shouldn't say such a thing, but if it was 30 people who passed away, they jumped the fence on October 7th, thousands of them came, and they who killed 30 people. And then the Israeli army came and pushed them back. I don't think what this wouldn't happen right now, because we already did that 100 times. Kadosh Baruch Hu decides. We don't ask for these things. We don't not mourn. We don't not feel compassion for those who passed away. Oh, because you're part of the bigger picture, and it's good that happens, so we could do this. That's not how we live either. We feel compassion, we feel sadness for what happened, and we really mourn. These are people who passed away in a sad, sad way. And right now it's happening as well. And we can't forget that. But we have to zoom out and see HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing something over here in a big way. And he needed to do October 7th to allow him to do now June 14th, whatever it is.
Yeah, and he needed the matzah of what happened before October 7th. Everything. He's been playing for a long time. So to get into the news is already like you have to be able to split yourself into 15 parts to feel bad for them, but be happy because HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running it. It's like a dangerous, but all of life is really like that. To see HaKadosh Baruch Hu is running everything, but then still be a human being with our hishtadlus. Because we still have to do our hishtadlus, that's what he wants. Do your hishtadlus. Remember, everything that happened, every effect that's made is him. You still have to put your right foot forward. So it's this combination. All of life is this emunah b'tachon. It looks like a stira, and in some ways it is, but that's called emunah b'tachon. That we have to do, yet never take credit for what is done. You have to do and always give HaKadosh Baruch Hu the credit. The Oseh Chadashos, the Baal Mechamas. So some people, if they're on the outside, they might say, but then I'm going to feel like a loser. So I'm supposed to work so hard and never take credit. I guarantee if you do it the right way, you'll feel stronger than ever before. Because if you do strong, and you allow the true belief that a HaKadosh Baruch Hu is actually flowing through you, because he's the one who's really doing it, you will feel 10 times stronger than if you took credit for what? 10 times, 100 times stronger. Than if you take credit and you want credit for what you did. Look, I'm so strong. You'll feel 100 times stronger when you're mevatel that ideology to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Because if you allow HaKadosh Baruch Hu to flow through you and you feel it inside of you, you're the strongest person in the entire world. You're godly. You can't beat that. You cannot get stronger than that. It's a Mesiras Nefesh to surrender that desire for credit, that desire for kavod, that desire to feel like I'm doing something, I'm accomplishing. It's very hard because we're built. That's how we're born. But I guarantee if you do it, this isn't like it's a guarantee. If you do it right, with true emunah b'tachon, you will feel 1,000,000 times better and stronger than if you would have taken credit. You won't need everybody's credit. You won't need other people to approve you and acknowledge you and thank you. You won't need that. You're not dependent on anybody. You're independent of it all.
That's the strongest. So you see it clearly here. Page 67. However, someone who doesn't contemplate the manner in which the world is run, if you just look at the little news, that's all we're doing, little news, and they say, okay, it's 20 years. That's still little. That's not how the world is being run. However, someone who doesn't contemplate the manner in which the world is run, when seeing a change in reality, will think that it's a new cause that forces a change in reality. 20 years ago, they started a new cause. No. And turn over from one matter to another. In truth, however, the cause is too weak and insignificant to be themselves the cause of the change or transformation. It's not possible, even for what's going on right now, that 20 years is enough. You needed many more years. How do you even have the technology to even decide to do the thing? Can't. As can be illustrated from the fact, okay, and he goes in. So this, if we're going to look at the news, let's look at it the right way. Let's look at it the right way. So Emunah B'Tachon, you have an amazing opportunity that we can strengthen ourselves in Emunah B'Tachon. And let's end like this. Besides the fact, the real ending, not the real ending, but remember, to pray, to acknowledge and to thank and to understand and to believe the IDF and all those who were in planning, and even Netanyahu and even Trump, whoever, to thank them for their efforts 100,000,000%. They have been chosen by Kadosh Baruch Hu to be doing the things they're doing. And you have to acknowledge that. But don't make a mistake to think that they're the cause. You have to be makar tov. The true acknowledgement, the true hodah is to a Kadosh Baruch Hu first, with them being messengers. Remember the messengers? We spoke about that for a long time. Then you can have your cake and eat too. You could thank everybody when you know who it's really from. But let's end off with this. It's very, very important. Imagine right now we go into a time machine. Right now. All of us, we go into a time machine. Back to Shushan Habir. We come out and we're walking around, and we see posted on the pole, on the telephone pole, not the telephone pole, whatever it is, the pole over there. It says, party for Achashverosh, big huge party, come gather. What do you think? You're like, wow, this really happened. This is what happened in the Megillah. I know the Megillah. This happened. And then you go to the party and you watch what's going on. You're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what's in the Megillah. And then you see Vashti, there's a fight, they kill Vashti. You go, oh my, this is amazing. And you're there by yourself, you don't really connect to anybody, you don't know anybody. And you're like, what are you feeling inside? Feeling, I know this story. This is amazing. And then a few years go by. And then another edict comes out. Haman has been chosen to be the prime minister. And he decides, Lahashmin laharag la'abid es kol Yehudim. Posted everywhere, and everybody's going crazy. Oh my gosh. The prime minister, the superpower of the world, is going to destroy class. We're done. Game over. Crying, screaming. You see it. What do you think? I know this story. This is like a joke. This isn't good. I know how it's going to end. And as you watch Mordechai come to the town square crying, you're watching all this stuff. Right? The people in Shushan couldn't watch it. They were in it. Who was the only person who was able to watch this 20 years, I don't know, really, 10 years, whatever it was, 12 years, the 12 years of the Megillah, who was able to watch it from a Kadosh Baruch Hu's perspective to see the whole thing from beginning to end? Mordechai Tzaddik. And we discussed this. Because he had been talking. Revach Tzaddik, he knew the end. He didn't know the exact details, but he knew how it was going to be. We have an opportunity right now. We're living right now, be'emes, in a Megillah. Yes or no? We are living in a Megillah. When did it start? Of course, 5,785 years ago. That's for sure true. But let's start right now. Let's try, because it's too much. You want to go back to 48, whatever year you want to go back to. You want to go back to October 7th? Let's go to October 7th. We're right now in the middle of the Megillah. Kadosh Baruch started it then. He's running the whole system now. Don't lose the opportunity to enjoy the Megillah like going in the time machine back to Shushan. Don't be so nervous and scared like those people, and then only at the end you're like, oh wow, what a Gavaldic news story that Kadosh Baruch did. Then you missed the whole thing. You missed the whole thing. Why would we want to miss the point? The Iker is a Kadosh Baruch Hu, Yud Kevavke, even though he's hidden, you don't see his name in the Megillah. But Kadosh Baruch says, Oseh Chadash, I wrote the Megillah. I'm hidden everywhere, you have to just look. If you have Emunah B'Tachon, you can watch and you can see a Kadosh Baruch Hu being Po Yeshuos, Po Gevuros, Oseh Chadash, Ba'al Machamos, or Tzedakos, Yeshuos, Mishbezachet Tzedakos.